hu shchinte b'shem kol Yisrael v'inu am Adonai Eloheinu aleinu ma'aseh yadenu kora aleinu ma'aseh v'chonehu Baruch ata Adonai Einu melech haolam she'akol nהיה
Amen.
Tov. Woo! So we started after Rabbi's Maimah. Chayav Inish lebesumei lepurai. You guys know the song? Chayav Inish lebesumei lebesumei lebesumei. Chayav Inish lebesumei lebesumei lebesumei. So the Alter Rabbi began the Maimah yesterday with asking a few questions. One, what's so cool about Purim? Why is it considered higher and more simcha and more joyful? Tzadik Chet, 195. Why is Purim cooler than all the other holidays like Pesach and Rosh Hashanah and Shavuot, where we actually saw revealed miracles, 10 plagues, crossing the sea, real good stuff happened. What happened in Shushan? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. It's a total just random story. I mean, it's kind of a little risque. It's just about like women and booze and kind of, you know, your natural kind of regular soap opera, but no miracles, no hidden miracles. So why is Purim so much better? And why is Purim just a regular day? Not like Yom Tov. Yom Tov you can't do the work. 39 labors, right? Like Shabbos. Yom Tov, except for Ochel Nefesh, but the fact is Purim is just a regular day. And if it's so high, it should be like the holiest day, which means like we should be totally removed, right? Another question. And so to begin to understand these questions, the Alter Rebbe says we first have to understand what the heck does it mean Torah? Because on Purim, that's really when the Jewish people accepted Torah. On Mamad Har Sinai, we only really accepted one version of understanding that is just Torah Shebichtav. We just received the written Torah. We didn't really want to receive the oral Torah. When we said Naaseh v'Nishma was just for the written Torah. I'll do it with 10 Commandments, share what it says, you know, and you wrote them on your hands and you bound them between your eyes. Very ambiguous, very kind of abstract. No problem. Torah Sheba'al Peh, now to all the nitty-gritty details, it's a different story. So we weren't really into getting the Torah Sheba'al Peh, and basically God drugged us into receiving the Torah. Kafa alem har kegigit. What does that mean? It means he held up the mountain over the head, said, if you want my Torah, good. If not, this will be your demise. Alter Rebbe will explain what does that actually mean, but the point is, we were kind of forced into taking the Torah, and it was only on Purim that we really, totally, wholeheartedly, 100% accepted the Torah. So first we got to understand what the Torah. So I'm on the second column on the top. Ha'inyan. What is Torah? If you want to understand what is Purim, you got to understand what is Torah. Ha'inyan. Ki hineh ha'Torah nikret mashal ha'kadmoni. The primal metaphor, the primal riddle.
I thought you said ancient yesterday.
Yeah, well, kadmon can really mean ancient, but it really means like when you say like kedem, it's primal, means the first. Rishon. It means the first.
5 lines down.
It's the first. It's the first mashal. It's the first riddle. So that's what David HaMelech said. That it's a metaphor. It's a way of saying something that you want. When you want to explain something, you usually use a metaphor, something like that, to describe it. Okay? That people use metaphors to explain things. Like King David, like Shlomo Melech. V'inyan. Ki pirusha kadmoni. What does it mean, kadmon? Kadmoni hainu kadmono shel olam. And it means the first thing that existed in the world. Shehu or Ein Sof Baruch Hu. What existed before everything? Infinite.
Just or Ein Sof Baruch Hu Atzmo.
Or Atzmo. He says or Ein Sof Baruch Hu Atzmo. He doesn't really make the distinction between or Ein Sof and Atzmus, but for all intents and purposes, or Ein Sof is Atzmus. Even though it's not, it's just the or of the Atzmus, but fine.
In this case, is it referring to it or not?
No, he's just kind of lumping it out. What he wants to do is he wants to la'apuke, sovev, and the memale. Okay, there's atzmus, there's sovev, and there's memale. So he wants to take that out and say atzmus is atzmus, so there's sovev and memale. Okay, that the kadmono shel olam, the first cause, the first thing that existed was the Or Ein Sof. Ki b'chinat sovev kol almin umemale kol almin ze'u ma shenimshach mimenu yitbarach he'ara. So even sovev, he's saying that the memale and the sovev are illuminations. They are illuminations of the Or Ein Sof, the infinite light, but they are not the infinite light itself. Liyot chiyut la'olamot. So we are living in a movie. Okay? In Hebrew, asks him Hebrew, not regular Hebrew slang, that when somebody's like, you crazy, you're like, "Ata chai b'seret." You guys ever heard anybody use that term before? Ata chai Moshe, ata chai b'seret.
Wait, let's get Daniel. Wake up Daniel, Moshe.
Ata chai b'seret. What does that mean? You're living in a movie. Okay, what does it mean you're living in a movie? It means like, dude, you're crazy. Alright? And that's not so far from the truth. It's not so far from the truth. So if you think about what is a movie actually? What is a movie? A movie, I mean, once upon a time, today, I don't know, in the digital world, we might have to revamp the mashal. But once upon a time, you went into a theater, you sat down, nice comfy chair, nice big box of popcorn. Yeah? And there was a guy in a control room behind you, and he turns on this machine called a projector, and that projector now turns on this light that filters through these films. Okay? Have you guys ever heard of this thing called film before? Mm-hmm. I don't know, it's a millennial thing, I don't know. But there used to be this thing called film. And then when you project light through the film, it would get projected on the screen and you would see this movie, right? So that's actually not so far away from the truth. We are living in a projection, okay? That every single moment there is light that is projecting this reality into existence. What is that light called? It's called the Mimale Kol Almin. It's Mimale Kol Almin. It's also the Sovev, but it's basically two different types of light, of energy, of divine energy that is projecting our reality into existence at every single moment. What would happen if the Or Ein Sof decided like, I'm going home, turned off the machine? What would happen to us?
We would go bye-bye.
We would just basically disappear. The screen would go blank.
Like
we would revert into nothingness. So basically Hashem is continuously creating and sustaining and projecting this reality into existence. That every single person is being generated in a very unique and specific way because that mimale is filling a particular vessel, a particular kli that gives each living being its own personal and unique characteristics. It's what makes a table, a book, a person. That every single thing has Or Mimale Kol Almin that is projecting it into existence. So that's the Mimale. The Mimale Kol Almin is a unique Or that creates you, Adam. You are a unique being. You are just you're just a big piece of Mimale, that's what you are. Meaning that you are different and unique than everybody else. Something that makes you a totally unique being. Why? Because the Or of the Mimale, the world that fills all lights, is able to create a unique being. As opposed to the Sovev Kol Almin. What's Sovev Kol Almin? Sovev means surrounding light, is something that is not unique, meaning it's a universal light that is able to also give energy to all living beings.
Specifically is Mavile, or we're all Mavile?
We're all Mimale, yeah. I'll see you, don't worry. Every single thing that has a unique character trait. Basically, Domem, Tzomer, Chai, Medaber. You have inanimate objects, vegetables, animals, and men. That there is this distinction between levels, between people, between things. That is because of the Mimale. Okay, the Sovev is a universal one kind of light for everybody.
Sounds good.
Does not matter who you are, what you are. It's the same light that is illuminating an elephant or the Milky Way galaxy or this cup of coffee right now. It's one light for all. Okay? It's called the Sovev Almin. The Male Almin is much more particular. It's much more unique. It's much more dynamic. And it's something that allows for the creative diversity to exist. Which, by the way, one of the essential entry-level meditations that the Rebbe Rayatz, the Frierdiker Rebbe, says to do is that we must begin to develop a sensitivity to be able to experience the Or of the Mimale Kol Almin. It's a very fundamental entry-level meditation that people need to begin to focus on to begin to develop this awareness and to recognize this particular light and energy that is creating this particular object or that particular object. To focus, to meditate on the Mimale Kol Almin, entry-level Hasidic meditation.
And what's Mimale Kol Almin compared to, as Sefer compared to creative diversity?
The creative diversity is from the Mimale. The Mimale Kol Almin creates the diversity. It allows for unique beings to exist. That's where the diversity comes from. As opposed to Sovev, which is much more universal.
Is that the underlying...
Is it?
The bedrock of the whole...
Yeah, it's
creation?
Yeah. The Sovev, we usually really say it has to do with more of like the will. The Ratzon of Hashem. The general Ratzon of Hashem is that Hashem wants the world to exist, wants reality to exist, regardless of all the particular details. That's the general desire that this infinite light has to create life. The Mimale, then, is now getting into the particulars of how that life is supposed to be expressed and diversified. So there's Mimale, which is kind of the closest thing to us. Then there's the Sovev, which is beyond us. By definition, it's called the transcendent light. And then beyond that is the Or Ein Sof, meaning that the Mimale and the Sovev are just illuminations. They are not the Ein Sof itself. They are not the Or Ein Sof itself. Ki gam b'chinat Sovev hu b'chinat Shayach le'almin shehu ma shemechaye ha'olamot rak shehu b'chinat Or Makif. That the Sovev Kol Almin is also, it is relevant, it is associated with the world. Okay, something that we have some type of connection to, but it's just very transcendent. We don't naturally feel it. So it's called Or Makif. In Kabbalah, Or Makif means surrounding light. It's not that it really surrounds us, it's also within everything. But when we say surrounding, Kabbalah uses a language to be able to describe things that are quite difficult to describe using human language. So Makif, when we say Makif, something that's surrounding, it literally means transcendent. It means not felt, not directly experienced. Does not mean that it's surrounding you. It's not like your aura that surrounds your body. The surrounding light, the Or Makif, is just a light that is present that cannot be felt. It's transcendent. We don't have the sensitivity, capacities to experience it. Unlike the Or Pnimi of the Mimale, or Makif, or the Mimale Kol Almin is also called Or Pnimi, internal light, but really means light that can be felt, light that can be experienced. So that's why the Frierdiker Rebbe says that's the first level that we should be trying to experience in godliness, because it's the closest to us. What?
How do you experience that through meditation?
Yeah, we got to learn the meditation.
All right.
So that's what we're supposed to be doing from the half hour in between the end of the Chassidus Seder to beginning davening. That's one of the fundamental innovations of the Hasidic movement, was to allow time for meditation. Preparation before tefillah. Okay? In Hasidus it's called what? What's it called? Hisboinenus. Hisboinenus means very, very intense focus,
thinking.
Rigorous. I wouldn't say thinking. I would more say it is very intense focusing and becoming absorbed in something. Concentration. But it's like a meditative, contemplated, concentrated focusing.
Well,
It's okay, I recorded that. I don't even remember what I said. But the point is that the meditation really consists of beginning to now concentrate on a particular object. Choose an object, like pick a card, whatever card you want. Pick something. And now begin to kind of, this thing, it's being projected into reality. There's an energy that is willing this thing into existence right now. What do you mean, Rabbi? You've been smoking a little good stuff? It's just a glass. What are you talking about? Well, you're right. But if I were to zoom in that glass, you know what I would see? Molecules. Molecules. There's this thing called molecules. And if I were to zoom in a little more, then what I'd see? Atoms. And if I were to zoom even more into this piece of glass, you know what I'd see? Subatomic particles. Okay? And you keep going again, and quarks and whatever it is that they've discovered, and then finally reach a point where it's just energy. It's just energy that it has a very particular vibrational frequency. And then you got to think, well, okay, so where does that energy come from? What is that? That's called Mimale Kolami. And so when you start to focus on that, you're like, wait a second. That energy, it's not just some static, neutral kind of thing that exists, but it is a will. The energy is conscious. It is being willed into existence right now. That if I focus on that enough, and I think about that enough, that has the power to blow my mind. That this thing right now is not a glass. It is the Kadosh Baruch Hu. It is the infinite light communicating with me. It's talking to me right now. It is revealing its wisdom to me right now through this thing. Baal Shem Tov says, you don't have to go to outer space to look for God. It's right here. It's right here. It's talking to you. It is continuously revealing its will and its wisdom through this world. Baal Shem Tov says, when you look at the world, you're looking at God. That's why the name Elohim, one of the names of God, has the same gematria as the name for nature, Hateva. Hateva. Nature, with the definitive article, Hateva, nature, has gematria 86, also Elohim. Meaning that what is Elohim? You have two names, Havaya and you have Elohim. Havaya, Yud and Hey, Vav and Hey, that represents the Sovev. We'll say that in a minute. But that's the transcendent light. But then you have Elohim, that now that light is now being filtered into the Mimale, it's converted into the Mimale, which now allows this world to exist with all its different colors, tastes, shapes, forms. And so when you're looking at the world, you are looking at the Or Mimale Kol Almin. You are looking at Hashem. Hashem is expressing himself. He's dressing himself up in this world. So that's something that should be done at least for 5 minutes before you start davening. At least. You guys know who the Mashpia is? The Mashpia, there's a book called the Mashpia, Rav Shlomo Chaim Kesselman. So in the yeshiva, when he would teach people how to do this meditation, to go into a state of what's called dveikut. Dveikus. What does dveikut mean?
You're bound up with God.
It literally means absorption. To be in a state of dveikut means to be in a state of complete absorption. To be in this you're like in a trance where somebody could literally just be shoot a gun off next to your head. You're not going to hear because you are so absorbed into what you're thinking about, to what you're doing. Okay? It's like going into a trance. And so the masters would really be able to do that for a long time. And he would start by giving his students 1 minute dveikut meditations. 1 minute. Start to practice to be able to go into a state of total and complete absorption for 1 minute. No external thoughts, no machshava zara, just total focus. You're just on this thing. Do that for 1 minute. Because all students are like, come on, Rav, 1 minute. I could do like 15 minutes, I could 20 minutes. And Rav Kassim is like, shut up. 1 minute. Do 1 minute. Anything else is dinionot shav. Don't kid yourself. Practice with 1 minute. You can master 1 minute. Then you can graduate to the higher level.
2 minutes.
2 minutes, total absorption. Meaning your mind is not passive like in Eastern meditations where it's just like no mind, no thoughts. I'm not gonna like think about anything. That's not what Hidbonenus is. Hidbonenus is really focusing your mind and thinking about holy moly. This energy is the will of God that is now willing this thing into existence right here before my eyes. Why? Why does Hashem want this thing to exist? What is this thing?
Yeah.
Do that for 1 minute. Right? So in a sense, it's also chokhmah because it's just one idea. It's one idea. I am just focusing on how this light is now the light of Hashem that is projecting this thing into existence. But there's also Bina. What is Bina? That's where all the particular details. Why is it round? Why is it not like this? Why does God want to create something that's round? What is that?
Are we supposed to do this on actual like concepts though? As opposed to like random things?
You're supposed to do it on exactly what I just told you to do. You know how I know that? Because that's what the Frierdiker Rebbe said to do. Open up Kuntras Avoda. He specifically says you must meditate on the Mimale Kol Almin. Mimale Kol Almin. You can also do it on Hasidic concepts, yes. But he's saying entry level. Start to develop the awareness of the Mimale.
So is that meditation also encompassing all the spheres?
No. Forget spheres, man. Forget spheres.
Literally forget spheres, or
You're just starting off with thinking about this cup. Forget about the spheres, right? Everybody know the story when the Alter Rebbe asked the Mittler Rebbe. He says, so what did you meditate on this morning? And the Mittler Rebbe's like, Adam Kadmon, spheres of Atzilus, right? And Alter Rebbe's like, that's pretty good. And he's like, so what did you meditate on? And Alter Rebbe said to him, Mom, this table. He said the stender. And he's like, no Adam Kadmon, no spheres. Alter Rebbe's like, nope, the table. Okay?
How can he do that? The table.
Because it's very basic. It's closest to us. We're like, woo! No. Get real simple, guys. God is not there. God is right here.
The table, he does the
Table's
table.
It's being yesh me'ayin. It is being projected into reality. It's being willed into existence at this very moment. You know why? Because God wants it to exist. God, the infinite light, wants this table to exist. Whoa. Okay? And then next level, Frierdiker Rebbe says, this is like basic stuff laid out. It says after you're done meditating on the cup and the table, then you know what you should meditate on? Yourself. The Mimale
Table.
the Or Pnimi that is projecting you into existence.
Table.
Oh.
Table.
The infinite light is willing me into existence.
Table.
Right now. OMG. Okay?
Table.
Is that somebody?
It's the silver gold.
Snooze. So that's entry level meditation stuff. That should be done at least 1 minute before Shabbos. You did 1 minute, you can do like a week of 1 minute. Means like you're just gonna focus on that thing without thinking like, oh wow, what's for breakfast? did I leave the iron on? Like, no, just total absorption, just total focus, and then you can do 1 minute, good, then do 2 minutes. And then before you know it, you're up to doing like 30 minutes. Can you imagine being in a state of total 100% focus and absorption in the idea that you are in a state of connection with Hashem right now? Like you're literally in a state, like you're dialoguing with Hashem, like you're talking to Hashem right now. Half an hour. Whole world is just like does not exist anymore, okay? That's when it really starts to get interesting. But, I mean, eventually, like the Alter Rebbe talks about doing for 1 hour. 1 hour, but we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. But anyways, that's very, very basic entry-level Jewish meditation, to be able to feel the Mimale, because it's the closest to us. It's something that every single person is able to develop the awareness and sensitivity to experience.